Femurett is an early walking aid or a temporary prosthesis for primary transfemoral and knee disarticulation amputees. It can be used fully weight bearing as a treatment or assessment tool for rehabilitation potential. It should only be worn under the direct supervision of a qualified physiotherapist trained in its use. Rehabilitation starts in the parallel bars where the users gain confidence using a fixed knee gait, and if able, progresses to gait re-education with a free knee gait pattern. The Femurett provides a psychological boost for users. It allows early ischial weight bearing and bipedal gait re-education with a prosthetic foot. It encourages active residual limb muscle control, improves balance and allows assessment for the free knee option. The considerations for Femurett use are pain and residual limb, fractures, open or unhealed wounds, wound infection, hip flexion contracture over 10 degrees, non-compliant patient, and weight over 105 kilograms. The components of the Femurett are as follows. The Femurett sockets are provided in small, medium and large, right and left, and have adjustable socket fastenings. They have a facility to adjust the adduction and abduction settings and have an opening for the attachment of the knee section. The shoulder strap is attached to the edge of the socket and threads into the clamp buckle on the interior face of the socket. By loosening the screws on either side of the centre tube, the adduction and abduction facility can be set as required. The knee unit has a retaining pin, and by releasing the locking mechanism, it can be inserted into a small hole which allows free flexion and extension. The measurements on the thigh and shin section are graduated in centimetres and are used to select the correct height to correspond with the user's sound limb. The knee unit should be inserted into the socket and the screws securely tightened using a 5mm Allen key. The foot section comprises of one size right or left, solid ankle cushion heel foot and a shin section. The sash foot allows limited dorsi and plantar flexion. The screws at the proximal end of the tube, when released, allow the insertion of the knee unit. The user's weight should not exceed 105 kilograms. Check the residual limb before and after wearing the Femurett. At a distance of 15 centimetres from the distal end of the residual limb or the widest area on the thigh, measure the circumference to establish the socket size. The small socket fits 38 to 46 centimetres, the medium socket fits 44 to 54 centimetres, and the large socket fits 52 to 60 centimetres. The user can wear a compression sock to support the distal end of the residual limb. A terry sock can be worn for comfort. Measure the sound limb from the floor to the knee centre in centimetres with the user wearing suitable footwear. Ensure the user's pelvis is level before measuring from the ischial tuberosity to the knee centre on the sound leg. The knee unit is inserted into the right or left shin section. Set the measured distance on the graduated scale for the lower leg height and tighten the screws securely using the 5mm Allen key. The socket is attached to the proximal end of the knee unit. Select the height using the measured distance from the ischial tuberosity to the knee centre. Ensure the socket is aligned correctly to the knee unit. Tighten the screws securely. Ensure the knee is in the automatic locking mode before beginning to fit the Femurett. The knee will lock automatically when fully extended. The user stands in the parallel bars and the Femurett is applied over the terry sock, which is secured over the proximal brim of the socket. Secure the adjustable socket fastenings. Pass the shoulder strap over the opposite shoulder and thread into the clamp buckle on the anterior face of the socket. Check the height in standing and ensure the user's ischial tuberosity is located on the ischial seat. The user should wear well-fitting shoes with secure fastenings. If they are wearing jogging bottoms or trousers, these can be pulled through the socket and tied in a knot above the knee section. A total elastic suspension belt can be used as an optional suspension method. Gait re-education starts in the parallel bars with weight transference from the sound side to the femurett. Hip hitching is practiced on the femurett side. The user progresses to hip hitching and swing through of the femurett to heel strike. Now the user progresses weight transference onto the femurett and stepping the sound limb through to heel strike. Start mobilising with the upper limbs forward before stepping through with the sound limb first, then hip hitch and swing through the femurett. The user chooses which way to turn using small steps on the sound limb and femurett alternately. To enable the user to sit down, pull upward on the lock release cord. Position the femurett foot slightly behind the sound limb and bring the weight forward whilst offloading the foot to enable the knee to bend. The hook can be secured with a Velcro patch to the front of the socket. The user can progress to using the femurett with a free knee once they have demonstrated good standing balance, the ability to transfer weight onto the femurett side, good range of movement at the hip, demonstrating control of the femurett during swing phase, and the ability to follow and retain instructions. Gait re-education with the free knee starts in the parallel bars. With the user seated, release the locking mechanism of the knee and insert the retaining pin into the hole below the locking lever. Check the lock is released. The user stands from sitting by pushing up with the upper limbs on the arms of the chair. The femurett knee should be flexed and the foot in contact with the floor. This enables weight to be placed onto the femurett as it extends into knee-locked position. The user transfers weight onto the sound limb and practices knee control using flexion and extension of the hip. The user steps forward with the sound limb, moving on to the toe-off position which will flex the knee. Practice knee control using flexion and extension of the hip. Start mobilising with the upper limbs forward. Step forward with the sound limb. The toe-off position will flex the knee. Flex the hip and bring the pelvis to a level position to release the femurett from the floor and allow swing through to knee extension. On heel strike, the user must lock out the knee and extend the hip by tightening the gluteal muscles, pushing the residual limb against the posterior wall of the socket, while the sound limb swings through. The user chooses which way to turn using small steps on the sound limb and femurett while maintaining the locked knee position. As the femurett can be used fully weight bearing, the user can continue gait re-education with either stiff knee or free knee gait outside the parallel bars, gradually progressing to using an appropriate walking aid in a 4-point gait pattern. Steps, slopes and uneven surfaces can be practiced if the user has the ability and is safe. The Femurett is an early walking aid temporary prosthesis for primary transfemoral and knee disarticulation amputees. It can be used fully weight bearing as a treatment or assessment tool for rehabilitation potential. Full assessment and application by a qualified physiotherapist is essential to ensure user suitability and maximum benefit. Care and cleaning instructions. Check the joints. Check the socket for cracks. Clean between patients following the local hygiene policy. Do not use a corrosive cleaning agent. An annual check is required, and report any faults immediately.